What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. Today I'm going to show you a small Riverside dump that I'm going to start excavating. I'm assuming a lot of this stuff is 1950s, but as we dig into it we'll be able to get somewhat of a closer date. It's a lot smaller than the other dump I showed you, so this is going to be a lot easier for me to empty out as time goes by. But why don't I stop yapping and get to it. Looks like a little, I'm thinking that was Tabasco, but maybe it was perfume. Still got a little plastic lid. Old broken jar. Oh, this is kind of cool. There's an enamel like wash bin. Trying not to touch it with my fingers if I can help it. Tomorrow I will bring gloves. I remembered to bring shoes today, I just didn't bring gloves. There's so much metal. What's nice with all the rain and everything that we've been getting, a lot of stuff's actually coming out of the bank and into the river. I can see it right now. Tomorrow when I come here, I think if I'm smart, I'll remember my waders and I can get some of this stuff. But here's a jar. Another one. It's crazy to me. I've said this before. It's just crazy to me that a lot of this stuff is still in one piece. That is cool looking. I've never seen a jar quite like that. I would guess honey, but yeah, look at that embossing. Oh, and there's a little leech on there. Ugh, that's cool. Ugh. Yeah, so I'm gonna be able to start cleaning this out a lot better as time goes by. If I rake it and let it settle, I'll be able to find more and more bottles, I'm sure. Oh, it's a broken jar. I had something that looked like an old ketchup bottle. Let me see if I can get it out. It's probably really hard for you to see. It's really dark, muddy water. I'm next to a river, but this was really more of a, oh, here we go. It's more of a backwater, really, because the main river is out there. And the land here, the current doesn't come back here. So this is all just like muck. So there's a lot of carp fish in here. It's muck here, and then as you go out to the main channel, it's really sandy, but there's no current here. So, but let me show you what I found. I'm talking too much. Oh, hey. Oh, we got a really nice embossed bottle. Heck yeah. Oh my gosh. Ah, look at that. Pepsi Cola. I have never seen a Pepsi bottle like this before. Oh my gosh, what a good find. Okay, so I'm coming back here tomorrow. I'm trying to, I got some crab apple trees I got to plant before the storm. I can feel the rains coming. If you look down that way, it's coming. But I wanted to, like I said, get an idea of what we're doing. So tomorrow I'm coming back and this is what we have so far. I think what I'm going to do is take my rake and just kind of rake up the leaves in here, and tomorrow when I come back it'll settle so I can get a better idea of what's here. But I'm also going to bring my waders and kind of feel with my feet. So stick around. We're going to find some more good stuff. Okay, I'm still starting to drag stuff up. I found something really cool, but it's sad because it's broken, but it's also cool. It's another Pepsi Cola bottle, but it actually has some of the paint on it. That would have been so cool if that was all in one piece, but you know, the day is young. I might find more. Okay, I keep saying I need to leave, but I keep finding cool stuff and the sun's finally coming out. But look at that. Look how thick that glass is. It's huge. Okay, day number 2. I finally made it back. My car died on the way here and I had to get a tow. So I got a little late start on the day. The sun is finally out. It's a lot cooler than yesterday, thankfully. So I am rearing and ready to go to see what I can find today. All right, good news. On the top of this pile, I found an old license plate. Up in the corner, it says 54. So it's safe to assume a lot of the stuff here is going to be from the 50s. Maybe some prior, but good bet it's from at least 54. Most all the cans I'm finding are rusted to nothing. But there's one that's still got some paint on it. Carling Black Label beer. Never seen any that look like that myself before. Looks like we got another little surface fight. No, that's broken. Oh, paint can, broken liquor bottle. Oh, got a little milk glass here. It's empty. That's kind of nice. Here's one just sitting right there. Oh, it's broken. Oh, it's full of ants. Oh, they're on me now. It says Honeywood. Well, not sure. Pretty positive that's some kind of makeup. Pretty sure. But I'm finding a whole lot of them as I'm dragging things up from the water. But I could be wrong, but I was almost positive this was all makeup. Part of old makeup kits, but now I'm not so sure. This one's kind of cool. Broken. It says something like dart wine, but it has that Coke bottle green almost. I'm really hoping I'm finding a lot of broken, small, very thin glass bottles. Oh, that one actually has some paint on it. I think that's 7-Up. Yeah, an old 7-Up. I'd really would love to find one that's in one piece. That would be great. All right, I am really stirring up the muck here. I can't see anything. As you can see, I'm just taking out a ton of broken glass with my rake, but I found something with my boot. I can feel it. I hit it with my rake and it squeaked. So I'm gonna pull this mystery bottle out. Hopefully, I feel the bottom of it is intact, so holy crap. Holy crap. What on earth is that a medicine bottle? No, I may not. Does it still have the cork in it? You know what? I can see it. You can't see with this, but it still has a piece of cork in it. I don't think that's from the 1950s. That is awesome. There's no chips or cracks. Oh my gosh. I was getting worried because I'm like, I'm getting a lot of broken stuff, but I finally found another good one. Woohoo! Oh, that's good. That is so cool. Look at that. That's got to be some kind of medicine. But it does have a cork in it. There is a seam that's going all the way from the bottom up to the top. So it does have a seam on both sides. I've never found one of those before. That is so cool. I'm gonna go put it up with my good bottle so I don't drop it and break it. Oh yes, that is so cool. I'm so glad I decided to check this place. Milk bottle. Let's see if I can get it in. There it is. There it is. Okay, that's got to be the top of a milk. Oh, that's got to be the top of a milk bottle. Maybe I'll be lucky and find a whole one, but like I said, this is a whole lot of broken. Oh yeah. Oh no. Oh, got another little cosmetic. Woo! Little cosmetic milk glass jar. It says VITA FLUFF. VITA FLUFF. Cool. Another cosmetic jar. Nice. definitely was a man and woman who made this pile.
Since I found that 1954 license plate, I figured we'd take a quick look at some pop culture from that year that we still enjoy today. For example, J.R.R. Tolkien's novel, The Lord of the Rings: The Two Towers, was published in this year. Tolkien's friend C.S. Lewis also had a novel out this year titled The Horse and His Boy. This was part of his Chronicles of Narnia series. Post-apocalyptic novel I Am Legend by Richard Matheson was published this year. It was adapted to film 3 times, believe it or not. I actually saw 2 different versions. One was the 1964 version with Vincent Price, and the other was the 2007 Will Smith version. You might remember this book from elementary school, and you might remember this book from high school. Horton Hears a Who and Lord of the Flies were both published in 1954. Now, I would love to play music from 1954 for you, but unfortunately, copyright laws prohibit this. Here are some famous songs and their singers that you may know from this year. Shake, Rattle, and Roll by Bill Haley and His Comets. Mr. Sandman by the Chordettes. That's Amore by Dean Martin. Little Things Mean a Lot by Kitty Callan, which is not a well-known song, but I checked it out and it's actually really good. I hope you check it out too. 19-year-old Elvis Presley would be heard on radio for the first time in July of 1954 singing That's All Right Mama, but only on country stations. By 1956, he'd be internationally famous. Rosemary Clooney would not only be on radio singing This Old House, which is a great song, she would also be starring in the hit 1954 Christmas classic, White Christmas. White Christmas is one of my favorite Christmas movies of all time. If you haven't seen it yet, do yourself a favor and watch it. 2 Alfred Hitchcock movies would release in 1954, Rear Window and Dial M for Murder. Both would star actress Grace Kelly in the lead female role. I haven't seen Dial M for Murder, but Rear Window is one of my favorite films. Check it out if you haven't. Lastly, 2 iconic monster movies would release in 1954. First was Creature from the Black Lagoon, a black and white 3D film that would premiere in Detroit, Michigan, February 12th of '54. Secondly, The King of the Monsters, Godzilla, would make his first appearance on screen in Japan in 1954 and later in the US in '56. The original Godzilla actually had really good acting, and besides the cheesy monster suit, the special effects were pretty good for 1954. And it wasn't just a monster movie, and there are a lot of YouTube videos out there that talk about the hidden meaning behind the film. So I hope you'll check those out and also watch the movie yourself. So now that we have a taste for the era, let's get back to bottle digging. Come on.
Hey, I think I found something kind of interesting, and I think I know what it is. Well, maybe not. I moved to a different area because that other place is so mucky. I'm going to give a chance to let it settle so I can actually see what I'm hitting. Holy cow! I thought this was a, you know, the end of a sprinkler can, but it's not. It's, I don't know. It doesn't look, maybe it's a giant door handle? It looks like it's got writing on it, but I can't see it. But that is crazy big. Heavy. Oh, come on. Okay, I just heard a clunk, and I think I see what I threw up onto the bank. And, oh my gosh. Oh, please don't be broken. Oh my gosh! Ah! Oh my gosh! Oh, it's broken. No! An old ashtray. That's like a very dainty lady's ashtray too. Oh, I wish that wasn't broken. What a cool find though. But I don't smoke, so I'm not sure what I'm gonna do with it. Oh, look at that. Got some milk glass. Oh man, this water smells so bad. It says MUM, mum. So old cosmetics milk glass. Little screw top lid. Let's see if I can read it. Bristol Myers Co. Mum. New York, New York. Super cool. Alright, got an old cast iron. Really rusted, almost to nothing cast iron pan. Whoa, there she goes. Ugh. Pretty sure this isn't glass. It's a big chunk of metal that's in my way. Oh, no, an old tire. Still in my way though. And there's probably bottles under it. If I can get that out of the way and I give the muck time to settle, I might be able to actually see stuff instead of have to feel for it. There's one right down here. I've got the bottom. The bottom isn't broken. Oh! That's gotta be ketchup. Oh my gosh, oh my gosh, oh my gosh. Can you see it? Do you see what I see? I cannot believe it. Oh my gosh. Look at that tiny perfume bottle. Holy crap. How did that not... Y'all, can we just appreciate... Holy cow. I can't believe that. I thought this was all junk. Ah, what a good find. That is so cool. Ah! All right. I'm making good headway and finding some amazing, amazing finds. I can't believe I found that tiny little perfume bottle. All these years just hiding under the muck. Almost perfectly preserved. It wasn't even really dirty. Same with that, what was it called? The ashtray. Just all I had to do was rinse it off a little bit and it was squeaky clean. Incredible. I'm gonna leave this area for a bit because I want the muck to kind of settle, the dust, the debris to settle so I can actually see. So I'm gonna go to the other side of this swampy area because I did find a milk jug on the other side of it. So I'm gonna try and see if I can find anything over there just in the shallows. There wasn't anything like this where you could tell. It was just in the water. So gonna head that way, and if I find something I'll show you. If not, I'll be back to see what I can see has been unearthed. So I just found something almost better than finding a bottle dump. I was searching around with my probe here and I just happened to notice this. It is May in Michigan. Woohoo! It's morel season, baby, and it's my first morel. That is a good size, so now I gotta keep my eyes extra peeled around here for some more. Oh my gosh, that's awesome. So happy. Great find. It's gonna be delicious. Okay, I think I traced the source tree, the tree that the spores came from, so I followed it back to where I found that one, and right in line with it, there's this big boy. Oh yeah, that's a big honking morel. Woohoo! I'm searching that area where I had found that milk jug before, and it's just, unless we have a really bad flood about every 15 years or so, we just don't get the current by shore that we need to uncover all the leaves and eat away at the bank to reveal any bottles that are there. So it's a lot different from finding bottles in a creek for sure. You just, one day you just find a bottle that's been sitting there for years that nature slowly eroded away to show it, and that's just, you just get lucky. Otherwise you got to know where the dump sites are, because we just don't get a strong enough current near shore to help us look for bottles. Well, I didn't find much at all besides trash and a bobber, but I did find some mushrooms, some morel mushrooms, and I haven't found those in a couple years, so hooray. But I'm gonna make my way back to the dump site to see if I can see clearly now into the water, to see if I can just pick up stuff. But then I'm about ready to go home and eat. So let's get to wrapping this up. All right, enough time has passed where I should be able to just look down into the water and see anything. Oh, there's still a ton of leaves I just raked up more leaves on top, but I should be able to see any bottles that I uncovered. I can, oh, I actually see one right there. I hit it with my rake, so I heard it before I saw it. Oh, come on. Oh, is it broken? Oh, nope. Just another jam jar. These people really liked their jam. They like their Pepsi and 7-Up and their jam. But I'm gonna keep going through here and seeing what else I turned up. Hopefully I can just see it and grab it. I've been doing it by feeling and hearing. I can hear it get scratched, and then I can kind of feel it and pick it up. Oh, another jam jar. I mean, I assume it's jam. It could be olives for all I know. It was the 50s after all. They might have had a little martini party, who knows. But let me keep looking. Oh, there's one right there. Might be a glass bottle. Yeah, it's glass. Oh, yeah. What was I saying? That looks like an olive jar, so it makes me think, like, you know, like maybe they were really good at hosting parties and had a lot of martinis with olives and such. I'm not seeing any bottles really sticking out yet, but it is still pretty murky. I may have just found what I'm going to find for today and just have to come back later. There's still a ton here after all, but like I said, I'm getting hungry, so I might be done for today. I think I've got one last thing to show you that I think you'll appreciate. So I think I found out what that big item was I found earlier. It's not a doorknob, it's, I think, a bedpost. Oh yeah, that was a bedpost. Okay, so mystery solved. You aren't gonna believe me. You aren't gonna believe me. I heard a gurgle and a pop, and I looked over and this popped up out of the water. Oh my gosh. Okay, so not only when I was raking it came up on its own, it's an old baby bottle. Oh my gosh. There's a little chipping in the glass, but that is so cool. Oh, that's so cool. I wish I had got it on film when it popped up, but it says Evenflo, and it's got a bunch of the measurements on there. Evenflo, I wonder if that's that Pearl Jam song. Was he talking about his old baby bottle? Anyway, that is a great way to end the day. That was so cool. Okay, I think I'm ready to go now. All right, I couldn't help myself. I kept digging. Ah! Oh, it's broken. An old lemon juicer. Sweet. I just can't believe how clean this stuff comes out. It should be covered in like black. There's my baby bottle. All right, found a whole lot of bottles, but I'm just gonna keep some of the ones that I really like for now. And every time I hit that place, I'm gonna take a bottle of all the broken stuff and just put it in a trash receptacle that actually goes to a dump. So I'll try and get it cleaned up there. Got my mushrooms home. I'm gonna clean them off, fry them up and eat them. So let's go clean up those bottles and look at them. Bottles are clean, morels are in the fridge. It's time to do the wrap up. Before I begin talking about the individual history of all these pieces, I just kind of want to reiterate the timeline I'm going over. When we're going through this dump site, I want you to be thinking, what was the era like? And for me, what I'm picking, even though some of these items are older, I want you to be thinking the decade between 1945 and 1955. So 1945, World War II was over. The GIs were coming home. The baby boom was beginning. 1947, the Soviet Union and America were in the Cold War. 1950 to 1953, the Korean War. And then 1954 is the date of that license plate we found. And since you used that plate for a year, it probably would have been discarded in 1955. As we continue digging in this 1950s dump site, just keep in mind that this is a snapshot or time capsule of
An American family's life prior to the widespread popularity of rock and roll, prior to Elvis Presley mania, and even though the Cold War would be looming in the background for decades, this is prior to the beginning of the space race between the Soviet Union and America. Okay? Now that we got that out of the way, let's get into the actual bottles. The first bottle I'm going to talk about is this tiny little perfume bottle that turned out to be a sample perfume bottle that would have been handed out by the Fuller Brush Company. The history of the Fuller Brush Company is actually really interesting, and I put a link to their company and their company's history in the description box, so you'll really want to check that out because they were very deeply embedded into American culture from 1906 and onward, and they are actually still in business. They have a website, they have a YouTube channel, and what was so great about them is that they would go to your house. They were door-to-door salesmen, the Fuller Brush men. They'd go to your house, they'd see what needs you had, they would demonstrate what equipment they had, and then you could use their catalog and order, and they would deliver it to your house. And they also had samples, like sample perfume. But their products were to help fulfill whatever need you had, and if they didn't have it, they would basically create what you needed, and they would also tell you that it lasts forever. They were built to last. So if you think about it, ask your parents, ask your grandparents, do you remember the Fuller Brush guy coming to the door and trying to sell you stuff? See if they remember that and see if they actually bought anything, and if they did, see if they still own it, because like I said, their products, they claim, were built to last. They're heavy duty, so I wouldn't be surprised if one of your grandpas, if you go out into his, workroom in his garage, he might have a broom that's older than dirt, but it still does the job. Food for thought, check it out. The Fuller Brush Company was so ingrained into American culture that in 1933, there was a animated film, The Three Little Pigs, where the wolf actually tried to get into their house by dressing like the Fuller Brush man. And then in 1948, there was I believe it was a murder comedy movie that came out called The Fuller Brush Man, where the Fuller Brush salesman was framed for murder. And then a couple years later, in 1950, they redid that movie, only it was called The Fuller Brush Girl. And I believe that was Lucille Ball playing the Fuller Brush girl that gets accused of the murder. Actually, I told my mom about this, and she was born in the 50s, and she says, oh wait, the Fuller Brush, I remember them coming to the door. I remember mom buying stuff from them. So yeah, ask your parents, ask your grandparents. If they're American, do you remember this? Did you guys ever buy anything from Fuller Brush Company, and do you still have it? Check it out. You might be interested to see what you learn. The next bottle I want to talk about is my first really good find, which was this Pepsi Cola bottle. I'm going to show you a close-up real quick. There is a mark on the bottom that says A47, which denotes its year of make. So this was from 1947. Okay, I think you can see it right there. A47. Sorry for the glare. Yeah, there's the year of make, A47. Now, from 1940 to 1950, a lot of changes were made to the Pepsi Cola bottles, and some of them were just really subtle. But because we know this was 1947, we have a good idea of what this would have looked like when it still had paint on it. 1947, this would have been red, white, and blue. The words Pepsi Cola would have been here on the main body, and there would have been 2 dots between the word Pepsi and Cola. And then up here, there would have been a little oval that said Pepsi Cola, and again, there would have been 2 dots between the words Pepsi and Cola. In 1948, the logo changed up here, and in 1950, they stopped producing the red, white, and blue colors and went to just red and white, which brings me to this little piece here. So I thought these bottles were really similar, but actually they would have been
quite a few years apart. This one has embossing all the way around like a cloth pattern, whereas this one, if you look closer, it's actually shiny where the logo is. So they're actually, yeah, years apart. I was kind of surprised by that. And you can see this was just red and white. And see how there's a dash between Pepsi and Cola? There isn't two dots. In 1950, they not only stopped doing red, white, and blue, they switched from the two dots between Pepsi and Cola to just a dash. And up here, in 1952, they brought back Pepsi Cola being up here on the shoulder, and there also would have just been a dash in between Pepsi and Cola. So this one could be later, but it is at least 1952. Overall, I'm super happy with both finds. It would have been really cool to find a whole bottle with the paint on it, but again, there's still time. I'm still gonna keep going back there and digging around and seeing what I can find. For all you bottle collecting experts out there, I hope I got my information as good as I could. I know you'll let me know in the comments if I didn't. Another cool thing about this bottle, knowing that it came from 1947, not only was the Cold War officially on, but April of 1947, something pretty important happened in the sports world. If you know what I'm talking about, think about it. April 1947 in the sports world, what happened for the first time? If you know, put it down in the comments. The next bottle we're going to talk about is this really old looking apothecary medicinal bottle. This is a Whitehall and Tatum medicine bottle, and they've been in the basically medicine bottle game for the longest time, and a lot of you collectors probably know, you see them all the time. This bottle in particular, if you see that triangle, it's got a W and T in it. It was really hard to date this because they used that symbol, the W and the T, from 1924 to 1969. So it was very hard. I tried to do as much research as I could. It was really hard to nail down a date, but it's a possibility, maybe 1927. The closest image I found was a bottle from 1927 that had a phenobarbital in it. So this could have been phenobarbital. It could have been something completely different. They just had a similar bottle, and it's such a large medicine bottle. Maybe they had it around for years and years. Maybe they emptied it out and were using it for something else. When I cleaned it out, the cork finally dried out and went in, so the cork is still in there. But when I cleaned it out, it had like oil, like crude oil kind of, that rainbow sheen in there, and it was really kind of oily, greasy. It could have still had medicine in it because there was some medicine back in the day that actually had crude oil in it. So I'm saying late 1920s to maybe early 30s, and if you think I'm wrong, let me know in the comments. Like I said, it was not easy to pinpoint a year of make on that one. I want to focus now on these three little cosmetic jars. This one here, even though it's nice and clean, no marking on it, so we just assume it's maybe some kind of cold cream or something of that nature. Could have been maybe a shampoo of some sort. I want to talk about this one first. This is the Mum by Bristol Myers Co. So Mum came into existence in 1888. They started making deodorant. So this was a little deodorant cream that you could pat and put on your armpits or your toes. And Mum was bought by Bristol Myers Co. in 32. And in 1952, they started developing roll-on deodorant. So this has to be in between 32 and 52. So I'm going to say, again, with how small it is and when they would have used it up, it would have probably been like a late 40s, early 50s. That's when I'm dating that, and I'm sticking by it, darn it. But it's really cool because Mum and Bristol Myers were actually bought by Procter & Gamble in 2001, and they actually still make it, but it's not a cream anymore that you pat on. So but it's really cool. This thing's really heavy and robust, and there's no chips on it. And you know, I could find a lid and actually use this to hold little things here and there. So I'm really glad I found that. It's just really pretty, really cool. I know a lot of you milk glass collectors will appreciate that. So that leaves this big chunky one. So we look at that and it says VITA FLUFF. This was actually shampoo, and it was supposedly supposed to cure your dandruff, and it was, you know, non-toxic. It was supposed to be more holistic, I guess you would say. I'm going to put a link in the description to a Wikipedia page that talks about the creator of this. It's actually really fascinating. He was a basically a quack. This is pre-1955, but because by 1955 he wasn't allowed to sell this anymore. He, you know, he portrayed himself as a doctor and a researcher, and that just wasn't true. So there's a lot you can learn about him. His name was Duan H. Miller, and he had Duan Incorporated. It's just really fascinating. He was a polio denier, a polio vaccine denier. He made all these outrageous claims of what would happen if you gave your child the polio vaccine. So this had to be, like I said, no later than 1945, because by then he was, you know, found guilty of what he was accused of. So check out the link in my description. It's a really fascinating read. So now let's move on over to what is probably my favorite find, this little dainty mid-century ashtray. And unfortunately it's chipped, but it is not sharp. Like, I can run my finger all around it and it is not sharp at all. So that's nice. I can have it around and not worry about getting hurt. Yeah, so this is possibly anchor hawking, but it is not marked. But if you do a Google Lens search, that's what it comes up with, anchor hawking. And what I love about this is the piece you can look at and say, ooh, mid-century. And in the 1940s, 1950s, if you watch any of movies from that era, what you'll notice is everybody was smoking. Everybody was smoking, men, women, and it looked, you know, fancy, sophisticated, classy. And a little fun fact, I know we're talking a lot about 1954, and that year, Rear Window came out. There's a scene, Grace Kelly, who had a rule about not smoking in any of her scenes. She kind of broke that rule, but she lit the cigarette. The camera cut away from her, and then it showed her pulling the cigarette away from her face. So you never actually see her inhale or blow smoke out, but just a fun fact, she never actually smoked in any of her scenes. But yeah, I really like this little tray, and what I can use it for, I do not smoke, but hey, look. Coin tray, or probably what I intend on using it for is just setting it on my bathroom sink and putting my earrings in it. So I love it, and I'm still gonna use it, so there. Up next, we have this little Evenflo baby bottle. The top is chipped, but if someone collects these, you can usually find the nipples and little plastic or Bulkalite ring and just, you know, put that on and cover it up and display it. So not a total loss. These were made by the Pyramid Rubber Company, and of course they were mostly rubber, but then they're like, hey, let's make the nipples and then develop glass bottles to go with the nipples and sell them together. Under here, there's a little mark that says USA, and right under it, there's a little pyramid that matches the Pyramid Rubber Co. Logo. For dating this, I thought up here this was the date. It says 2 and then a 54, but actually they said the date is on the bottom. So if I flip it over, you are not going to be able to see this because it's hard for me to even see this with my naked eye, but there is a 5 and a 2. So this was made in 52. And what I really like that I found this bottle, the reason is because, again, this was the baby boom. It was after World War II, families were growing. So this is just a really cool find, and it just tells me a little bit more about this family. There was a husband, there was a wife, and they were growing their family, and I just think that's really neat. Fun factoid, during World War II, 90% of America's rubber supply was cut off, so they were doing rubber drives, they were doing rationing, and mothers across the country had actually forced the government to lift the restrictions on nipple manufacture. They did a whole write-in campaign, and they were able to say, okay, well, we won't restrict rubber going towards baby bottle nipples. I do have a link in the description if you want to learn more about the Pyramid Rubber Company, so be sure to check that out. All right, next we're gonna go to this cute little jar. Now, when I looked at this, I immediately thought Art Deco and 1930s. If you look on the bottom, you'll see an A, there you go, an A underneath an H. So this was a Hazel Atlas jar. Now, a lot of you collectors will know that Hazel Atlas made a lot of glass, specifically canning and mason jars. And in the 1930s, they made a ton of depression glass. It's super collectible. A lot of their designs for like jars and, you know, coffee jars, cookie jars, that sort of thing had this very geometric pattern shape. But I can't tell you that this is specifically 1930s. I wasn't able to get an actual date on this. It's possible the family had this from the 30s and kept it all the way to the early 50s. I'm not the one to ask about that. If you are a Hazel Atlas collector and you know the date of that, and just please put it in the comments. Even though it looks Art Deco, I don't want to say it's from the 30s because I'm just not sure enough. It's a lot easier to date their mason jars than it is to get a date on something like this. Last but not least, my last find from the Riverside dump. Cute, heavy, chunky, cut up but not sharp lemon juicer. Yeah, if you run your finger across all these chips, it's not sharp at all. There is no maker's mark. When I ran it through Google Lens, it said it was Art Deco 1930s, but I have no way of verifying that. I mean, I technically could still use this to make orange juice or lemon juice. Probably not going to do that though. So, I mean, it's still really cool, really pretty. You could always, you know, now it's my jewelry holder. So, it doesn't have to be thrown in a landfill. You know, someone will appreciate it. Well, folks, it's that time. I want to thank everybody that stuck around for the entire video. I know it was a long one, and if you enjoyed what you saw and you want to see more, please consider giving me a like, a subscribe, and hit that notification bell. This is the Michigan Mudlark signing off, and remember, folks, keep looking down.